So, you're looking for flexible, shared storage for your VMware setup, but you don't want to completely blow your budget, right? Well, today we're going to break down one of the most common answers to that problem: NFS data stores.
To really wrap your head around this, we got to start with a super simple analogy. Picture traditional block storage. Think VMFS as your own private storage locker. It's great, you get all that empty space, but you're the one who has to organize every single thing inside it. Now, NFS uses file storage, which is totally different. It's more like you're given a key to this huge, shared, and already organized filing cabinet. You don't own the cabinet, you just have permission to go in and grab the specific files and folders you need.
Okay, so with that image in mind, let's get a little more formal. An NFS data store is simply a data store that uses the network file system, that's the NFS, to dish out storage to your ESXi hosts. And here's the absolute key. It all happens over your regular, everyday IP network.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Let's dive into our first section and get right to the core idea of what's going on behind the curtain. Honestly, it almost sounds too simple, but it really boils down to this. You've got a storage device, usually a NAS, that's acting as an NFS server. It basically just takes a folder and says, hey, this is available on the network. That's called exporting. Then your ESXi hosts just connect to that shared folder or mount it, and voila! To vSphere, it just looks and acts like any other data store, ready for your virtual machines.
That sounds pretty easy, right? But why would you actually choose to do it this way? That brings us to the really good stuff, the key advantages, and why this whole thing really matters for your virtual setup. Okay, this is where it all clicks. The biggest deal is that every single one of your hosts sees the exact same data store at the same time. This is what unlocks all those magical VMware features like vMotion, DRS, and high availability. It's also super cost-effective because you're just using the network you already paid for. And finally, the flexibility is amazing. Need more room? Just make the folder bigger on the NAS. You don't have to mess around with LUNs or block sizes. It's so much simpler.
All right, so we get what it is and why it's so useful. But how do we actually build that bridge between the hosts and the storage? Let's walk through how all the pieces connect.
This four-step dance is pretty much the whole setup. First, your storage person makes a share available on the NAS. Step 2, you jump into vSphere and just point it to that server's IP address and the name of the folder. 3, and this part's really important, a special virtual network adapter, the VM kernel NIC, is set up to handle all this back and forth communication. And finally, the ESXi host officially mounts that share, and boom, it shows up as a data store you can use. And this quote right here just hits the nail on the head. Using a dedicated VM kernel adapter isn't just about making the connection work. It's about putting that critical storage traffic in its own private lane, away from all the other network noise like vMotion or your management traffic. This is absolutely fundamental for getting good performance.
Speaking of performance, just getting it connected is one thing. Making it fly is something else entirely. So let's get into some pro tips to make sure you're doing it right and squeezing every bit of speed out of your NFS data stores.
Here's your checklist for success. First, your network. 1 gigabit is the bare minimum. You really want to be on 10 gigabits or even faster if you can. Second, look into jumbo frames. If your switches and everything in between can handle it, it lets you send bigger chunks of data at once, which is more efficient. Third, like we just said, bind that traffic to its own dedicated adapter. And last but not least, always check what your storage vendor recommends. They'll have specific tuning tips for their gear.
Okay, as you're going through the setup wizard, you're going to hit a fork in the road. It's a really crucial choice that's going to impact your security and features. Which version of the NFS protocol are you going to use?
This table really lays it all out. Think of NFS version 3 as old reliable. It's simple, it's stable, everybody supports it, it just plain works. Now version 4.1, that's the more modern, sophisticated option. The big win here is security. It brings in heavy-duty stuff like Kerberos authentication. It can also give you some performance boosts. The trade-off? It's a bit more complex to set up. Honestly, for a lot of people, V3 is perfectly fine. But if you're in an environment where security is paramount, you'll want to look seriously at 4.1.
So after all that, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. When you use NFS, your network's performance is your storage's performance. They are one and the same. A slow, congested network means you will have slow, terrible storage. Period.
And that really leaves us with one final big question for you to think about in your own shop. When you go down this road, your network is no longer just for data. It becomes the very fabric of your storage system. So take a hard look at your infrastructure.
and ask yourself, is it really ready for that job?